Hey everybody, welcome back to Chatty Cathy. Today I will be reviewing the Belle Collective Season 1, Episode 6, Sage and Champagne. But before I get into the episode, why don't you go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. My short-term goal, is to have a discussion with people about these reality shows. So the only way that can happen is if you subscribe to the channel. So please go ahead and do that. And I will get into this crazy episode. Let me just say before I do get into the episode that I don't personally see why Kalon is on this show, except to raise awareness of racism when it's in your face. That's the only thing I can see because she is clearly a racist person. She is not hiding it, and she is very insulting to the ladies, and I don't understand that. So I'll go ahead and get into it. Latrice meets with Letitia to catch up on the Farish Street revitalization plan. If you remember, Latrice decided not to come to that second brunch. And I don't blame her because she knew that Marie would be there. And as she says later on in this episode, Marie is just a mean woman. And I understand why she's saying that. If someone who I didn't know approached me in the way that Marie approached Latrice, I wouldn't want her in my life either. I wouldn't want her in my space. So at anyway, Letitia tells her about her overall vision and the price for her vision to come to fruition. Now, I'm actually not thinking that Letitia understands all of the logistics of what she has to do. She cannot purchase the building. However, it's going to cost her money just to rent it. It's going to cost her about $900,000 to rent this property. She doesn't know exactly what's waiting for her on the other side of the door until she does that. And then the estimate, without being seen, is about $1.5 million. So she has um, a daunting ahead of her. I can't think of the word, but it is daunting. Letitia forgets to tell her one little important thing. She needs Latrice's money. She needs everybody's money. Letitia does not have $2.5 million, to my knowledge, I should say. So Latrice, after she tells her about her vision, she asks what she can do to help. That was a segue made for her to tell her you can donate money. And so Latrice tells her that it was so difficult when she started her business, and no one came to her and offered her advice about business, and she had to learn on her own. And she doesn't want that for Letitia. She says that she'll be there for her to help her in anything that she needs to make her vision a reality. Very nice, right? And Letitia goes on to tell her about some things, and she said that Marie and I forget the other lady's name, Essie or something. Marie's partner, and I kind of think she has a partner kind of vibe, like a love partner type thing. But she apparently is her business partner, and she is in everything. So Uh, but at any rate, they said that they were the first to tell her that they would help her financially. So again, she didn't ask her for money, and she absolutely did not. She should have specified not only does she need money, but also she needs a specific amount of money. And she should tell each of the women exactly what she wants. She should be very clear. She should have a business plan to present to them because they're all business people. So I think that Letitia needs a business partner to help her to, to go out and to make her vision a reality. So then we are with Tambra, and she is in her doctor's office, and she's talking about having fibroids. And I know exactly um, the issue that she has. I had fibroids from the time I was 18 years old until I had a hysterectomy. At that time, hysterectomy was the thing to have to get rid of them, because all you do is you remove them and they come back. And I'd had them removed before. Um, but this is a woman who is 40 years old and wants to have children, or at least she says that she wants to have children. But she hasn't convinced me, not that she owes me anything, but she's talking to the doctor about her potential motherhood. And so she has it looked like she had an ultrasound, and she's kind of being silly, and again her voice drives me crazy. It's sort of cartoonish, and I kind of want her to be a little bit more grown up in the way that she goes about things as well. But the doctor says that she has four tumors. One of them is almost taking over the uterus. It is almost the size of her uterus, and so she's going to need another surgery to remove them before the doctor can transplant the eggs, the fertilized eggs, into her uterus. And so, most people don't want to have surgery unless it's absolutely necessary. I know if people are watching that know me, they know that I will have an operation um, at the drop of a hat. If it's supposed to make me better, and I research it, and it seems that it'll make me better, I'll have the accident. I mean, the accident. I'll have the operation. But a lot of people have to put a lot of thought into it. And I understand that. So then we meet at, I believe it was Antoinette's office. She was having a meeting with black doctors in her town, and Kaylon. So, which thing do you think doesn't fit? Okay, so Kaylon, Antoinette tells us, is a nurse practitioner. And today, nurse practitioners operate almost like doctors. Um, but the doctors that Antoinette has brought together, I believe, are dentists. And Antoinette also has a vision, and that is to get more black students to study dentistry. And so, what she has pledged to do with her business is pay for the DAT tests um, for the black students if they are going to go to HBCUs in the state. That's a big deal, especially if they are poorer students, because you have to pay for it. If I'm not mistaken, you may have to pay for them a couple of times just to get them to go to different schools, and that can be costly for somebody who is a student who may not be working full time and have excess money. So this is a big deal. And she sits along with these doctors, and one of the doctors says that she's working with some high school students, and that was awesome because it's a like vision. So all of these doctors seem to be on board with this plan, which is really good to hear. Our students, our children need support when they're talking about going to college. Our education system in the United States is not great. Um, we are teaching to the test instead of teaching students actual content. So they need our support when it comes to education. Now, Kaylon, I'm just going to be transparent. She doesn't belong in this particular situation, just like she didn't belong at the brunch. So she sits with her, and now Kaylon is telling Antoinette that she now understands her, because once she was at that brunch with a whole room full of black people talking about how they have been mistreated by white people, in racist situations, she said, "Now I understand you. Now I get it. I didn't really understand until I was there and I experienced it." So she thought she had experienced racism. Oh, that poor woman. But racism is alive and well in America, but it is not black people's problem, right? If it's going to be eradicated, it is white people's problem. It is not our responsibility to teach them about racism because it is them who are racist against us. So they know what they're doing. And this woman is not fooling me one bit. She is as racist as they come. The things that she said at the brunch when she got herself back together and could come back into the room, right? Before she was just so clever, like she couldn't believe it. And white people don't talk about black people, they really don't. And then she came back in the room and talked about black people. And here she is talking about black people once again. So I don't know if she is unaware of her behavior or if she's just what I see her as being. Don't know, don't care, don't want to keep seeing her. That's my opinion. Now, Kaylon says now she can be empathetic to her friend. Now, this is somebody who she knew all the way through college. She knew that this woman married a white man. She knew why this woman divorced the white man. And now, only now, can she be empathetic. Um, so Antoinette explained why she has been inviting Kaylon to these events. Um, and it is because she wants her to understand that there are good black people out here. Like, they're educated black people and black people who know how to behave themselves. And we're not all criminals and we're not all ignorant and whatever else. God bless you, Antoinette. That's not your responsibility. But okay. So Antoinette invites Kaylon to her rededication housewarming, which is which she's named Sage and Champagne. So that tells you right off the bat that she's going to sage that house and get all that juju, bad juju out of it, and those people are going to be drinking. That's what it tells me. So Kaylon wants to know who's invited. She's not a cool chick at all. And Antoinette tells her that Marie wrote her and said that she really cannot attend, and she is not going to invite Letitia because Letitia makes excuses for Marie's behavior, and I will admit that Marie's behavior is out of line. And I will also admit that Letitia makes excuses because she knows her in a different vein. So, if Antoinette does not want to have bad energy in her house, she probably did right by not inviting. Um, I have actually made a point of not having negative people around me. If I find out you're negative, you can go ahead about your business. I'm just really not feeling it. Life is short. Life is short. And if you're going to be, you know, acting out and, you're all upset and everything, peace be with you. So we now are at with Latrice, and she comes home and she's talking about the fact that it's her anniversary, and she's looking all over for some sign that her husband has remembered that it is their anniversary. And then she calls to him, and he says, and she tells him to come into the kitchen, and he comes into the kitchen, and he has a bag, and it looks like he's remembered, and he has some flowers for her. And she opens the bag and she finds that there's just a couple of flowers and a 5 pound bag of flour. And I guess Cliff thought that was really funny. That was really ignorant, just ignorant. So she goes off and she starts telling him, I'm your wife and you better remember, you never remember me and da 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 da. Da. So he says, listen, I'm going to go get dressed. You just wait here. I'll be back in 10 minutes. Don't know how people
bathe, and dress in 10 minutes. Don't know how that happens. Do you hit everything? Are you getting it like real good? Or am I just, um, am I just anxious and just make sure everything is clean. Like, take 15 minutes if you want to. Like, take a little bit of time. Like, get every little crevice and stuff. But that's my own issue. So he comes down and he's dressed, and, okay. He looked the same to me, but he comes down, he's dressed, he tells her he has a surprise for her, and he wants to blindfold her. And then she tells us that Cliff came. So sorry, everybody. Cliff came downstairs looking like Denzel mixed with Will, mixed with a little, ready, Obama ish. So Latrice is in love with Cliff. That's all I know. Because love is blind. And if she thinks that man looks like anything like Denzel, Will, or Obama, she is blind. Blinded by love. So, okay, he drives her in the cart to the surprise. And I believe he probably just drove around the house or something like that because she's blindfolded and she's thinking, he's really gone a long way. So, wonder where he's taking me, and he really took her to the backyard. And there's steps right out there that go right into the house. So he just drove her to confuse her a little bit, which is kind of cute. So he prepared for her a beautiful anniversary dinner with a huge lit up love sign, and she was super happy about it. He then gave her a present, which was a Rolex watch, and she was super thrilled. And she was like, "Oh, I got a Rolex! I got a Rolex!" It's okay. I'm not gonna insult her. It was her anniversary. She was happy, and she starts thanking him, and her thanks morphs into her issues with abandonment. And what she really is telling him is that her father, her, her father abandoned her. What he did is he was on drugs and he died, and that is a somewhat of an abandonment issue for children. And then she lost two of her brothers, and then her other brother was incarcerated, so she felt like he abandoned her also, and so she has abandonment issues. And she gets to the point where she thinks Cliff is cheating on her, and he gets angry. And he says, she tells him that's why she behaves the way that she does. She's afraid that he's gonna leave her. She's afraid of losing her man. And she says that she's not an insecure woman. This woman has no introspection whatsoever. Everything she said is screaming insecure. So if you admit all of that, why not admit that you're insecure? Don't understand it. Don't understand it. So she has no introspection whatsoever. So they start eating, and then Cliff gets really irritated about the stuff that Latrice is talking about, and he gets up and he leaves. Um, and he says she always messes up everything by talking. Okay. She does talk a lot, so she might be right. And she said she sat back down and she said she thought that she was a strong black woman, but and she knows that she has some issues, but she didn't understand what was going on and why he left. And she called him a couple names, but the anniversary dinner was over. It wasn't the place for therapy or anything like that, but she didn't get that. He was trying to be romantic. I think that he's controlling. He is, what's the word I want when somebody smothers you? He smothers. Um, and apparently she don't mind it. So what's good for her is good for her. Not mad. If you like it, baby, I love it. Smother away. Then we see Marie, and she's at Happy Land, which is like one of these places where she's with one of her grandchildren, and they can get in like the sponge things and play. Now these are really small children, so they're really not play ready yet. But grandma took them, so they're in there with the little sponge things. And she looks up and there's her husband. And she's super surprised because, he doesn't come home all of the time and she doesn't know where he is from moment to moment. And she says that her relationship with her husband is strained. That's an understatement. Then, right after that, her son arrives with another one of his children, and Marie talks to him and she says that her grands make her happy, especially when she's not feeling well. And she tells us that she has lupus. And lupus is a terrible disorder. It is a terrible autoimmune disorder. And she says she's struggling, and I believe that she is struggling. Perhaps that is why she's so um, unpleasant. Um, I am in pain most of the time, and it does make you a little irritable. I don't know that I'm as irritable as she is, but it does make you irritable when you don't feel well, and especially if you are in pain. So some people line are thinking that, they've seen some celebrities who had lupus and, they didn't take 12 pills. So why is Marie taking 12 pills? Lupus attacks different parts of a person's body, different organs of the body, and it attacks people differently. So somebody may not be in and out of the hospital at all, and they may take medication, and then you may have someone who's in and out of the hospital all of the time, depending on the organ, depending on the way that it is attacked. So, education is a beautiful thing. So, she and her son talk about their therapy session, and they both have positive things to say about it. She tells him that she has 10 businesses and he can choose anyone that he wants to, but she insists that if he's going to do that, he needs to have a college degree. He must have a college degree. She reminds him that her health is not good and that he needs to prepare himself because she's not going to be here always. And that's a very difficult thing for a young man to hear at the age that her son is. He has clearly shown that he is not a responsible person, that he is very spontaneous and not very, he doesn't really think about the big picture. He has 3 children under the age of 1. This is not someone who is ready. He's just not ready. So she is trying to talk to him to get him ready. But when you spoil children, when you give them everything that they want, but maybe nothing that they need, because this young man has a lot of anger. And, you giving somebody something is not how you make up for your not having a mother, or things like this. Both of them need individual counseling, and they may also need um, joint counseling, but they definitely need individual counseling, because I'm hoping that she would have enough introspection to know that there's some stuff about her that's going on with her that maybe her son shouldn't hear, and certainly what's going on with him may not be stuff that he wants his mother to know about. So, you know, individual therapy is good, and then joint is something that they could also use. My opinion. Antoinette is now having her sage and champagne party. Tambra, Latrice, and Kellan attend. Here she is again. So I'm not really prejudiced, guys, but this white woman is driving me crazy. And she is driving me crazy because she is very privileged. She is she is very irritating, because she is not trying to hide her racism. And okay, so anyway, Latrice is continually telling Antoinette that she wants her to get a big black man. So I don't know if she is aware that Antoinette kind of is attracted to white guys, and I don't know whether she wants to accept that. Perhaps not. They discuss the brunch, and Kaylon takes it as an opportunity to bash Marie again using stereotypes, talking about women who, they want to take off their earrings and things like that. And Tamara stopped that. She said, I'm stopping this narrative by saying that she has attended many of the brunches, and that has never happened before. And she said that she's always going to stand in for Latrice because, she's doing a good work. And here's this woman over here trying to bash her. And I applaud Tambra for that. I absolutely do. Antoinette says she's done with talking about Marie, and Tambra supports that as well. So they are burning sage, and Antoinette explains to us that that is a Native American tradition to cleanse away bad juju. Antoinette reveals that she is part Native American and part African. She has bundles, like huge bundles of sage for everyone to burn and walk around and cleanse her home of her ex husband's juju. So the ladies are lit, period. And then they light the sage on the stove. So I don't think that's the way you're supposed to do it because they keep saying that's not really how you're supposed to do it. I actually don't know how you're supposed to do it because that's not my tradition. Okay. So one woman did something that I thought was super odd. She got into the bathtub. Now she had the sage, right? She got into the bathtub and she squatted and waved around the sage. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. But okay. And then they moved on. All of the ladies moved on to Antoinette's bedroom. And again, Latrice says she wants her to have a big, strong black man. And there was so much sage there that my house started smelling like Thanksgiving. I'm like, I'm smelling it. Like it was so much sage. It was so much sage that the smoke detector went off. Those ladies were drunk people. They were lit. So Latrice decides, now this is after that, Latrice decides to apologize to her husband and surprise him with a dinner. So she wrote her sentiments down. Well, she put it in her phone so that she didn't go left. Um, and he accepted her apology. Um, and he tells her that words hurt. So when she says stuff that like he's trying to cheat on her or something, she hurt his feelings. And sometimes women don't recognize that we hurt a man's feelings because they may not express their emotions in the same way that women do. But there are no male and female emotions. Emotions are emotions, and we need to watch ourselves because words do hurt. If somebody said stuff to me, they might hurt my feelings. So I would make a point of not hurting their feelings if I'm a grown up at least. So she had a masseuse there, a pianist, and a saxophonist, and she had dinner. And after he accepted her apology, she asked for a watch back. She tells us that she had placed the watch on her nightstand, and when she woke up, it was gone. So she got her watch back. Cliff asked the saxophonist to start playing, and he starts playing, and they start dancing, and that is the end of the episode. Um, and so it was a rather good episode, uh, with the exception of that Kaylon. That Kaylon, I don't like her. All right. I mean, I do know that nobody cares if I like her, right? Okay. So I don't like her, and that is what it is. I don't want her on the show. It is not the job of the black people to explain to white people what they do to us. That is something that they need to get together with one another and say, hey, we do this to them. Why don't we stop that? That's what they need to do. Because you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Don't insult me like you have no idea. Like, wait, we don't hate black people. We don't hate, really. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of this video. Again, I would really love to discuss this with someone. All right, I asked my sister to come on here and do a live with me, and she refused because she doesn't really like this show very much. Please just subscribe to the channel so we can we can chop it up a little bit. All right. See you next time, everybody.